So, Dr. Bilo, this
Dr.
is the global geometry.
Yep.
And we always use this as a start for all the videos, which is the global geometry isometric of the metal cladding setting. If we now want to get this into a free-form setting, like the one we saw in Düsseldorf, we need to somehow draw this in a three-dimensional geometry.
Yeah.
Which means I start with somehow a free-formed inner...
Okay, so the wall is already bent.
The wall is already bent.
Often, a little bit depends on the budget and also on the casting system. Concrete, for instance, would be then advisable. They have sometimes bendable or free-form system that can easily follow a curved line, but sometimes they also make a polygonal approximation. Means you try to draw a circle with straight, short lines. A stop sign, for instance, is already a polygonal approximation of a circle. You can discuss with the architects how round he thinks this is, but in this case, often you have an efficient substructure, the load-bearing walls, for instance, and then they have another layer of plaster or something of an interior cladding over that fulfills the geometry. On the outside, and that's the cladding, that also has to follow a more precise line. And that is, you have various options. What is your preferred option right now?
What have you seen in Düsseldorf? Would that be an option?
Yeah, that would shingles, for instance.
Shingles, okay.
Smaller shingles, like on a roof, what we found, overlapping each other, vertically but also horizontally, and that's what we've seen with the stainless steel shingles in Düsseldorf. An easy way of making an efficient, it's not the cheapest solution, we have seen easier.
Freeform is never cheap.
Freeform is never cheap, but this is a very efficient way of doing it. The smaller the
So I do shingles. I do them 40 centimeters, 30 centimeters,
precisely.
something like this.
And the smaller they are, the more they are able to follow. If you make them very small, you can have almost a very fluid line.
You tell me they have to overlap.
Yeah, precisely.
Okay, so they have to overlap each other.
An alternative to, for instance, shingles could also be that if you need bigger pieces, an architect wanted to have straight lines or whatsoever, metal can't be easily bent into that. You can only bend it in one direction as a curve. But if you really need three-dimensional bending or these forms, then you need more energy to deform the material, which is easily done if you have the right tools, but also comes to the costs. You've seen, for instance, the building from Benisch, Oceanum in Rostock.
That one, huge freeform.
Huge freeform steel shapes. They actually asked a company who makes ship hulls. So they have a huge sort of an anvil and a press, and they, like they do, for instance, on motorcycles, the fenders of a motorcycle, like a donut.
Yeah.
They do it on an English wheel, and the guys from the shipyard, they press these 3 by 8 meter sheets of steel. Takes days, weeks to form them into, but they deform the material, and that's very expensive. Could be done if the project has the right amount of budget, but yeah. The Geary Disney Hall, for instance, Los Angeles, a very cheap substructure internally, straight lines, a skeleton structure, and then shingles on the outside, and also shingles on the inside, so they are able to make sure...
As an inner layer.
As an inner layer,
I end up with a shingle version, insulation, a freeform inner structure, the window being placed.
Precisely.
It's not exactly the detail we saw in Düsseldorf.
No, but it's...
They have, a different setting with positioning the windows.
Yeah.
The general setup, that's pretty much it. Okay, good.
Looks good.
Thanks.